Alright, now I'm going to implement this test into our project. One thing I will note, I'm going to edit the panel. In the panel, I did change the properties here to reflect this formula. I found that it gave me basically, if the other custom panel we created, the liquid wall one, was kind of an open system, I wanted to create a more of a closed system for this other custom panel. So just tweak the formula here so that it would be mostly closed, and only when it was really close to the point would it start to open up. Okay. So you're going to load this into your project. So I've got an assignment 3 Revit file opened up. You're going to make sure you have the nodes turned on to your surface. And the last thing, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. The last thing you're going to want to do also is to set the work plane to be this so that you can put in a point somewhere wherever you might want it. It's important to set the work plane, otherwise this point would be floating in space. And I've set the formula so that's really going to work with the point being closest to the panels. So this one's floating out into space. This one I think I want right on there. So okay, now I'm going to put that in. Pick my 4 points. Pick my 5th point. And then go ahead and let that repeat. And while that's rendering, I am going to have some issues. If you're like me and you set this surface grid to be to allow for that big form I have in the center right behind here to be aligned with it, you're going to find that you have this kind of this residue, maybe even over on this side, although I think I can fix that. These are because this is like a 5-point polygon. That's a little triangle. So there are kind of these unique conditions. So I could work with that in a lot of different ways. I could create a 5-point panel. I could create a 3-point panel, and I'd just put those in these kind of unique conditions. But I think what I'm going to do is treat it a little differently. That'd be kind of an awkward joint anyway, architecturally. And it could be that I actually want to frame all of this in a more traditional system, and then have an inserted panel elsewhere. So to do that, I've got to do a couple things. I'm going to finish the mass. It's important to do that before you start going back and editing. But I'm going to then go back to my custom panel, and I'm going to have control over turning it on and off. So I want to basically go and tab through until I come to just that solid form, and then I'm going to give a new parameter to the visible. And I'm going to see if I can call that instance. I'm going to turn it, let's call it viz. Okay. And the default is to be on. Alright, so then let's load that into the project. Assignment 3. Overwrite parameters. Alright, so we have this loaded back up. One thing that you're going to find is that when you have something repeating, even though you've made it an instance parameter, you don't really have control of it individually. it's basically going to treat each one of these panels the same. So it's a lot like just having a type parameter. So even though I've assigned this to another type of parameter, it's just, if I turn one on, I turn them all on. If I turn them off, I turn them off everywhere. So the way to get around that, and you have to be kind of ready to make this move, is to say go ahead and remove repeat. And what that does is it makes each one back to kind of individual. Now, so it's basically after the repeat, you can turn it off if you know that that's what you want to do, and you're solid with that. So then now I can go in and I can turn individual panels off. Now, so what I'm going to do, and this is completely up to you as you're the designer of your building, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off of all the ones that I can't control the kind of reaction to. And then to make things kind of look more holistic, I'm basically going to create kind of a border that I'll treat in a different way, and I might do this row too so that it doesn't seem too thin on that side. So this is designer's choice, but I'm going to then turn all of these off. And then the other thing I might do is I'll look at that form that's going to end up kind of coming out of the facade, and I might go ahead and turn, I'm not sure where it exactly ends, I might turn those off. So this will be kind of an insert. It's like those guys right there. Perfect. Alright, so there's that custom family. Okay, so to wrap that one up, I'm going to then create a wall. So I'll finish the mass, and I'll create a wall by face, and this will be a foundational wall, but it is going to be concrete. I'll make it an 8-inch masonry wall and then edit the type. Cast in place. Yeah, probably precast. Okay, 8 inches is fine for now. Apply. And I want that be finished face interior, because I want this to pop out. Alright, so you can see now that I'm overlapping my panels. So what I'm going to do next is to create a opening in that wall. So I'm going to roll over wall opening. And you can see that you can draw. Alright, so probably want to set plane drawn. Alright, so I haven't been able to get wall by face working, so we're going to just go about this in a slightly different way. So I want you to just do a massing, in place mass. And we'll just call this the wall. I'm going to set the work plane to be that face, and then I'm just going to simply draw a rectangle from the extremes. For me, it's top to bottom, but you might have something different. And then I'm just going to grab the corner. You see that the node comes up, so that I get that trapezoid that I want to create. And then I'll create form, solid form, and immediately change this to say 8 inches. And I can change the material also by clicking inside of here. If I wanted to assign it a parameter, I could, but at the moment I'm just going to click on those little square right there, and I'll assign it concrete lightweight. Alright, so you can see there's a couple of issues. Obviously it gets in the way of my panels, and I want that opening, so I'm going to also create a rectangle around what I want to basically cut out. And I'm going to create form, void form this time. Make sure you hit the void form. And then I'm going to use that and cut. So I just clicked on the cut there, and then that erased the void form from this positive wall form. And so now I've got a pretty nice facade system going, inserting custom panels on this side that are somewhat closed by their nature, and then these custom panels on this side that are open.